Gear here. So we know we like to chat, because that's where we know where it's at. Well, have a seat there, Paul. I hope your wife is here. Okay. Our prelude this morning was a chat. We all got to chat. Our prelude this morning was chatting, just each of us chatting. So right now it's 11:01, and I just want to say, welcome. Welcome to Woodland Chapel. Welcome to what I like to call the little spiritual center with a big light that's shining out to the world out there with a message that says, no matter what spiritual path that you may be following in your own spiritual quest or not, maybe you're looking for a direction to put your faith and energy into. Maybe you're just curious. You want to stop by. And whatever your reasons for being here, you're welcome. You're welcome here. And I don't see anybody here for the very first time. I recognize every face. I know all your names. I know your addresses. I know how to find you. See, we know for all of us, and we believe that we believe in you. We believe in you and your immense, vast self, that you self that links you and all of us on all as spiritual beings and all the various bodies, the physical bodies that are walking around, all of us having our human experience. Isn't that a good thing? That's a great thing. So let's move this glorious morning along. And, we do not have a musician today. Our lady called in. She's quite ill. She asked for prayer, and we'll put her into prayer in our ministry. So she said, what you guys could do? I have a suggestion. Even though I'm ill, I want to give you a suggestion. She says, everybody knows this little light of mine. Oh, and I think that's probably right. So before we get into it, we will call that our congregational song. Just let me cover a few notifications here, some announcements. Oh, hi, Reverend Julie. Your husband said you weren't here today. Did you come in different cars, separate cars? Okay. Here's something really interesting. Get this now. Reverend Moore is going to be leading the prayer at the dedication of the new YMCA, and that's this Tuesday coming up on September the 13th. September 13th, yeah. And it's during the ribbon cutting, but he asked me to ask you if there's anyone here that would like to just be there and do their special walkthrough. They're going to have an all-faith walk through the entire premises, and it's between 8:30 and 9:30 in the morning. He says, I know that's early for some folk, but ask them if they want to join us down at the YWCA Tuesday, the 13th. Tell me what that stands for. Oh, yeah, I know typically what it stands for. Oh, did you hear that? He said, youthful miracles can happen. YMCA. At the YMCA. Yeah. All right, settle down. Okay, just a couple more now. A couple more announcements. Let's see. Oh, next week, Reverend Moore is going to be speaking. It's going to be Living Your Dream. Does that sound good? Okay, so be here, be square. And please join us for hospitality right downstairs after the service. Let's see what else is on here. Oh, we have a special event on Saturday. It's the memory gathering. Now listen to the way Reverend Ruth, I want to call her Reverend Ruth all the time. She was a minister at one time. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I don't know how, will they all hear me if I speak from here?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Nice and loud.
It's nice to see you all, and you probably all know or knew Robert at, for some point in time, some season. But what's going to happen Saturday is not a traditional memorial service, so if you were planning on that, go on YouTube and bring one up. But I want to remember Robert through your eyes. So what I'm asking, I'm calling it a Sharing Memories Gathering. You can see my brain isn't moving, so I have to read. And ask everyone to pick one event that you shared with Robert and write it on a piece of paper and bring it with you on Saturday at 1 o'clock. And you may Don, I think, is taking the hand mic around. And so you can speak right from your place in the sanctuary. Or someone else could read it for you. And each one I want to have put into, I have a very large basket. And I think I'm going to put it right up here on the platform. And then as you go by the goodies downstairs, to drop it in. I have 3 scrapbooks, about so thick, with about this much use. And I have all this extra space. And I plan to make myself a scrapbook of memories.
That's nice.
So I appreciate greatly if you will come and read and enjoy the adventures. Invite anyone who knew Robert to come and bring their adventure also. There's room for everyone. So if I haven't caught everybody so far, thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Ruth. You bet. Robert Tinike, what a character, what a guy.
I don't,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
I don't see, I heard a rumor we're having a barbecue. Is that true?
Down here, it does say at the bottom that if you want to have some real fun, come to the barbecue because there's a special chef doing the barbecuing by the name Big G Greg, they call him. I think his wife volunteered him, perhaps, maybe. I don't know.
And people can sign up for what they would like to bring.
Oh, God. Yeah, fine. That's a good idea.
There are sign-up sheets on the table in the library, and I will move them downstairs to hospitality also. But I would encourage you to sign up, and do please leave your phone number so that I can contact you. Thank you.
Is
And
that, is that next Sunday?
Coming up.
After service?
Coming up.
And, yeah. Great.
And if you, do we leave our social security number with you or just our?
Just the last 4 digits.
Oh, that's fine. You just can't get ahead of Susie, no matter what you do. Okay, so moving right along. Into the summer barbecue. Okay, we just covered that. How about the visioning class? It's going to start on Tuesday, October the 4th. Yesterday, the practitioners and the board and the ministers, we all had a great meeting about visioning, and we're going to share all that. You'll be getting more information here very soon. And then on October the 4th, on Tuesday, between 6 o'clock that night. Is that what it says? Okay, got that? So we'll be talking more about that. Okay, we don't, where are we at here on the program? That Kathleen is the musician's name who was going to be here, and she says, everybody knows this little light of mine, so we need a note on the piano. Would we have a volunteer? Oh, look who's jumping up. Susie?
He didn't leave any bruises.
Susie Quickfeet. Okay.
For us altos, we're starting with a C.
Stand up. Stand up. You can't sing without standing up.
I'm gonna
One more time. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Yeah, how's that? Nice.
We
nice.
did it. Oh my
That
God.
felt pretty good.
It did. Can I interrupt the announcements just a minute? So this little light of mine, can we just take a moment and let that light of shine on Kathleen? Just close our eyes
Yes.
and just send that light to her this morning. Surround her in light. Just visualize her in light and the love of God and the pure wholeness of her beautiful self. Yeah. And let it be, and so it is.
So it is.
Thank you, Don.
That's wonderful. Do we have another pray-in? Yes. That would be Cheryl. Okay. Cheryl Guest is going to pray us in, and we will be so centered with these two prayers.
Let's just take a deep breath in, knowing we're breathing in the energy of the universe, of spirit, the thing that quickens our heart, that nourishes our body, that oxygen, that one spirit that is within each and every one of us, that we are this massive expression of God. We are points of light within this universal power. And I know as this day unfolds that new thoughts, new ideas will be presented to each and every one of us. And we have this opportunity through this powerful, spiritual, sacred space to incorporate this into our bodies, into our lives. That we know that as we go forward, that we are expressing God in every moment. Every thought is a prayer. Every word from our lips is a prayer. And so I am just so full of gratitude, knowing that each person here is integral to this energy, to this power that is this universe. And I am just full of gratitude for each person present, and I feel the energy from each spiritual being that is here. And so I just release this into the law of mind, knowing that this is already so, that everything is unfolding in perfect divine right order. If this resonates with you, please join me in saying, and so it is.
Amen.
I'd like to share now the affirmation, if you'd please join me. I realize that each person I interact with throughout my day is a light in my universe. I see everything as sacred, and I live my life honoring this sacredness. And so it is.
Right on. How can it be any better? Beautiful treat. We are prayed in, really prayed in. You know what we're going to do right now? We are going to have an inspirational reading, and I'm going to bring someone forward today. Here she is. Claire, will you take my arm and let's go forward? Okay, let's go up here. Let's know what we're doing. See, here's a lady who always knows what she's doing. Right here. You want over here? This is probably easier. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Claire Fuller.
This reading from the Science of Mind magazine really fits in well with the meditation that was led just a minute ago, and with everything so far today. It just, you'll see. It's called Seeing I didn't even touch it.
I'll get it. I think it's hiding right there. We'll start over.
Does it
Claire,
work without it?
Can you lift your,
What?
can you lift your mask up, your shield up? Can you hear her okay, guys? Can you lift your just a little bit, or even take it off?
Can you hear me now?
Can you lift your mask, Claire? Just while
I didn't intend to wear it anyway.
Let me comb your hair there. There, beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, golly. Okay, so this reading is called Seeing the One. And it starts off with a quote from Sojourner Truth. And it's called, it says, "Truth is powerful and it prevails." And the second quote is from Ernest Holmes, and it reads, "The search is not external." And then here's the reading, and it really, it really affected me. These readings do, and I hope it will be meaningful to you too. Have you recognized the power contained in a few positive words? Words of affirmation can help an individual redirect their self-talk and self-image into a more inspiring state. These positive words don't require us to transform ourselves. Instead, they allow us to see the light dwelling within all people. Perhaps they allow us to see the light. Perhaps the reason we find it so challenging at times to see the greatness within all is that it is predicated on our ability to see the divine within ourselves. After all, how can we expect to see within another person what we've failed to recognize within ourselves? This leads to the question: if I am unwilling to see the greatness dwelling at the depths of another human, whom I have the privilege of sharing this experience with, what part of me is preventing me from recognizing the oneness that permeates all things? When I answer this question, I find there are many internal thoughts, ideas, memories, and opinions about myself that seem to hinder my ability to recognize this ever-present essence within. What is humbling to admit is that while these internal thoughts are not seen by the outside world, they influence how we show up in the world. Hence, if I am at conflict within myself, then I bring this mini war waging into every interaction I have. This leads back to the idea that if I seek to see oneness in this world and the greatness within others, I must be willing to recognize the oneness within me. And my own inherent greatness. Try this today. And the affirmation is, I honor my connection with the divine. This connection connects me to all. Thank you.
Gotcha. You want to put that on again? Well, okay, we'll walk down. Okay.
Well, no, I can just hang it on mine.
Okay, very good.
arm like that.
Ready to roll. Here, hang on to my arm and we'll go down. Okay,
Okay.
gotcha. Oh,
See?
one step, two step, three.
Oh. Thank you, Claire. And so, yeah, we need to see the greatness in ourselves as well as the greatness in everyone else. Yeah, this little thing has a life of its own, so I don't know if sometimes it says, yeah, I don't like what you're saying, so it's off, but I don't know. So this week we're talking, well, this whole month we're talking about work. And this, the work of my soul, there's an affirmation in the materials that Centers for Spiritual Living sent out. And it says, the work of my soul is creating a life that matters. And gosh, that seems simple, but I thought, what does that mean? What does that mean to create a life that matters? And that just kind of made my head spin when I was thinking about it. And some of us are very clear that our life matters. And, I have met a lot of people, especially in teaching classes and just in conversations, that really don't believe their life matters. And so you would think, being in this teaching a long time, we just all kind of make assumptions, or maybe I make assumptions. But, and you can say, doesn't our life matter just because we're here? And I would say, yes, it does matter just because we're here. But the question is, okay, we have this life, so what am I going to do with it? And we're exploring today, I think, a deeper understanding this as co-creators, just something deeper about this. Yeah, and I'm kind of aware as I get older, like, how am I using my day? What am I going to make of it? This is the day. What is that? Is it from the Psalms? This is the day that the Lord has made. Speech, right? And in it, yeah. So maybe that's purpose enough for some of us, just to get up in the morning and to hold that big joy and gladness. But this month we're looking at it in terms of work and vocation. And so the meaning of vocation, a lot of times we think, well, that's my job, that's my profession. But I grew up with a different meaning of the word vocation. I didn't grow up Catholic, but I went to Catholic schools, boarding schools from the time I was 14, so I lived in convents. And the word vocation didn't mean a job. It was a calling. It was about a way of being, a way of living in the world. It was who you were. Like the nuns had a vocation to be a religious, to live the religious life. But their work may have been teaching, it may have been cooking, it may have been administration. So there was this vocation and this idea of work. Oh, okay. Does that help? Yeah, okay. See? Okay. Our work, we may choose, and it changes. We may have this job or that job, or we may do something else. But our vocation is to create a life, really a life that matters, and it begins with recognizing. Guess what? Guess what, guys? Our divinity. Have you heard that like so many times here? But I think we can't say it enough. Honestly, I really like ideas, but it took me years and years, even into ministry, before I got the idea of recognizing our divinity within us. Just stop, slow down, recognizing, and thank you, Cheryl, for that. And Claire for those words this morning, because first we have to recognize our divinity within us. And last week, John did a reading, an inspirational reading, and I sat here and I was really moved by it, and I wanted to share part of it. I'm sorry, Neil, sometimes I have to move this little guy around. It went like this: the question of our divinity leads us to find there are many interesting thoughts, ideas, memories, and opinions about myself that seem to hinder my ability to recognize this ever-present essence within. Is that not true sometimes? That all of these things kind of come up and we think, well, if we're this way, or we have these memories that tell us we're less than, it just conflicts in our head over the idea of us being divine. But none of that really is, it matters. It matters a great deal, because those are the things that we're going to come up against in our life and we're going to work through. So that, okay, you know what it's like? It's like you take a diamond. A diamond, when they dig it out of the earth, it does not sparkle. But it's there. The diamond is there. The diamond is there. And so what it happens is it becomes polished and cut and all of this into shape, so that all of that I guess, does it look like a rock? Whatever that covering on that is, it has to be scraped away. It has to be polished away in order to show that diamond within. And I think, speaking of divinity, it's a little bit like we are. There's this diamond that we are, but sometimes all of that stuff from our background, our memories, our what we might have been told, our experiences that go against the rules, cause us to cover up this diamond. So our job, in our vocation, our job is to clear that all away. And it's, as you know, a lifelong thing. And as we proceed in what we're doing in our work, particularly in our work with our families, our work with our jobs, there's going to be those things we come up against that remind us of what we need to let go of. That wasn't in my talk. Sorry, guys. I got off the track. So, but to let go of those false beliefs that we've accumulated. And if we are wise, we will study our lives. We will actually pay attention to them and study our lives, reflecting on our work experiences, our careers, our family relationships, and our responses to them, trying to find a way through it in the world. There's a Hasidic story I want to read to you that speaks to that end. It said a rabbi named Zuya died and went to stand before the judgment of God. And as he waited for God to appear, he grew nervous, thinking about his life and how little he had done. He began to imagine that God was going to ask him, "Why weren't you Moses? Why weren't you Solomon? Why weren't you David?" But when God, he's just like really nervous. So when God appeared, the rabbi was surprised because God asked, "Why weren't you Zusha?" It is so tempting to pattern our lives after the others, only to discover, sometimes too late, that the only authentic choice is to become ourselves. Is to become ourselves, our best selves, to really reveal that diamond that is in us, that is going to sparkle and bring such pleasure, not only to ourselves, but to the world. So there's a story. Did any of you read The Reluctant Messiah by Richard Bach? And The Illusions. Illusions is the name of the book. The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah. Great book. Great book. I think it was inspired. That's my opinion. So there's a story in there that most of us know, but I want to share this morning because it just seems so appropriate to what we're talking about our purpose, not living somebody else's. So once there lived a village of creatures along the bottom of a great crystal river. The current of the river swept silently over them all, young and old, rich and poor, good and evil, the current going its way, knowing only its own crystal self. Each creature, in its own manner, clung tightly to the twigs and the rocks at the bottom of the river. For clinging was their way of life, and resisting the current, what each had learned to do from birth. But one creature said at last, "I am tired of clinging. Though I cannot see it with my eyes, I trust that the current knows where it's going. I shall let it go. I shall let go and let it take me where it will. Otherwise, I shall die of boredom." The other creatures laughed and said, "Fool, let go, and that current you worship will throw you, tumbled and smashed across the rocks, and you shall die quicker than boredom." But the one heeded them not, and taking a breath, did let go, and at once was tumbled and smashed by the current against the rocks. Yet in time, as the creature refused to cling again, the current lifted him free from the bottom, and he was bruised and hurt no more. And the creatures downstream, to whom he was a stranger, said, "See a miracle, a creature like ourselves, yet he flies. See the Messiah come to save us all." And the one carried in the current said, "I am no more a Messiah than you. The river delights to lift me free, if only we dare to let go. Our work is in this voyage, this adventure." But they cried the more, "Savior," all the while clinging to their rocks. And when they looked down again, he was gone, and they were left alone, making legends about a Savior. So the question for all of us, I have come to believe that in this teaching, we know we have choices, that we're given freedom and we can make a choice about things. But there is something else. Have you noticed that you are not or have not done exactly what you planned to do or thought you would do? But there is something that directs us. It's just, if we allow it, and particularly the more we allow it, the more it carries us to the exact right place. I think it's in looking back on our lives that we can see, wow, here I am. I never knew about that. So the question we have is, are we afraid to let go, even if we seem comfortable where we are? And I don't mean move, but attachment, letting go. But there will be bumps and bruises along the way, but this is the path of freedom. See, what is real and true for each one of us cannot be found by clinging. And sometimes it's fearful to let go of what is, what we know, and just trust. Trust that there is a higher power, there's an inner soul, there's something that knows. This cannot be found by clinging to old ideas and someone else's idea of what you and I should be. You know, one of the greatest gifts, I was telling my husband yesterday, as I probably have told him over 55 years, many, many times. There's nothing too much new to say, but this is like, I marvel at this all the time. The greatest gift, I think my grandparents, and they raised me after my mother died, the greatest gift they gave me was freedom to be me. They always told me to find your own truth and trusted, of course, that I could do that. And that gave me an enormous amount of freedom. And I don't think I appreciated that gift until I saw in classes and places how the struggle to let go when you're told how to be and what to think. And you know, that didn't mean because I had that freedom that I didn't bump up against a whole lot of obstacles. I made mistakes all the time. But the freedom to be free to find out what is true for you. So I was, as you know, I talk about this a lot. I was raised I spent 6 months of my life and all my relatives in this Mormon culture in southern Idaho, which is all Mormon. I mean, all Mormon, all related. And I got to tell you, before I begin always talking about this, that there is a great deal that I admire about the Mormon faith and the Mormon church. A great deal that I admire. Though the one thing I don't admire is I saw and I watched growing up how the women were told that their job was to bring souls to earth. And lots of souls. The more souls you brought, the higher your status. Seriously. And what I also read is that Mormon women are some of the highest users of Valium. And I saw some of my cousins, you know, with a house full of wonderful children, but on Valium, because perhaps that wasn't what their soul really called for them, or maybe it was what their soul called for them. I don't know. But here is the thing. It's about listening to our own soul's call. Not the president of the church, not the words in a book, not us up here. But your own soul's call to what it is, so that, you know, standing before whatever, that you will have become you fully, which is thoroughly magnificent. And, you know, with that, of course, comes mistakes. It's not like, oh, boy, I'm going to make my decision now, I'm free. And it's not going to, because remember all those things that we came along with as baggage? We're going to bump up against them. And freedom did not mean for me, I realized in the beginning who I was. No, but I simply had the freedom of spirit to explore, to stumble, and to discover. And so I want all of us to know that this is our calling, that this is who we're called. Our vocation is to be this spiritual being that we are. And the more that we get in touch with that, the more our work will reveal joy and happiness. And I don't know that it even matters. Sometimes it's really important that we do have a distinct calling to do a certain work. Sometimes, maybe not. I like what Carolyn May said in one of her books, that our job is to be the light wherever we are. no matter what it is that we are doing, to be the light wherever we are. So that in whatever work it is, whether we like it or not, there's two things that are going to make a huge difference. And that is to be grateful for where we are. Until we can be grateful and understand the gift where we are, it's probably going to be difficult to move on to something else. And Richard Bach said this: there is no such thing as a problem without a gift for you in its hands. You seek problems because you need them. I just think about that for a while. Just really think about that. I know that in our teaching we sometimes say, we teach that no problems. But the truth is, you guys, come on, don't we have problems sometimes? So what's the point of denying that we have problems? Let's try to understand them. And the gift in everything, because there's a gift in everything. And yes, I absolutely believe in our teaching that we're meant to be joyful and happy and fulfilled. And that is part of the path. Ernest Holmes said this: we must cleave to the good and trust absolutely in the law of God to bring about any desired end. Spirit will mold our purposes when we allow it to do so. As we learn to depend more and more upon the perfect law, we shall find that the outward things which are necessary to our good will be provided. And I believe that is so absolutely true. And you guys, here's another thing that's really important. Our work does not exist in isolation. Sure, we work for our families, we work for ourselves, we work for our savings, we work for whatever we do. But for our work to be done well, it also must be a service. And that will bring us the most satisfaction. I have to tell you, many years ago, I decided to buy a rental house, and then got all involved in ministry and all sorts of things, but seemed to accumulate a few rental properties as kind of a hobby that really is a lot of work. But what I have come to do, and I didn't do this in the beginning, so I had a few bumps and bruises in the beginning, but what I've done for many years is I write a note and I stick it under my statue of St. Anthony. Now, I know he's the patron of lost things, but he also works for me. He's my guy. So I stick a note under my statue of St. Anthony, and I want to provide a nourishing and delightful home for someone. This is really important. I want it to be nourishing and lovely and delightful, and a wonderful home for someone. And they will be, and I write out the kind of person that I want to be there. They'll be responsible and all of this. And you know what, you guys? Everybody turns out to be just that. I have found that it works all the time. In fact, I get referrals from my past tenants for sending their friends to see if we have a place they can live. And I get notes from them thanking me. And I got to tell you, it just makes my work easier. And it's been a long time since I've had a bad experience, since I've shifted that. I look at this as service. I really have shifted this from a job to service. That I can provide something for someone that nourishes their life. And you guys, it's work. I got to tell you, I've painted a lot and scrubbed a lot of ovens, and I've done a lot of work. And Paul's built no end of things. Right now, our son is refinishing a wood floor. So it's work, yes, But it is more than that. It is an opportunity to participate in the flow of life. And I didn't discover that at first, but once I discovered that, you can imagine how much more joy there is. So each day is an opportunity for us to embark on this personal journey to make meaning in our professional, our personal life. So think about what is it that you are doing? What is your work? What is your volunteer work? What is your relationship? How can that be an affirmation of service, whatever it is? And watch what we're doing, you're doing shift to be an absolute joy, no matter what it is. You guys, oh, I'm getting all teary thinking about that. Yeah, to participate in this flow of life as divine beings, allowing what we do to absolutely bless someone, even though we will never perhaps know who that is or what it is. Finding our purpose in life. It's more than our job, but it is our job. So, the question we are asked today is, are we living in response to outward circumstances rather than inward desire? When this happens, we must listen to our life to find that center point. Just listening. And so during this month, there's a question, homework. Ask ourselves this profound question: am I doing the work of my soul? And dedicate time to listen to our lives and bring forth the signs and messages that are revealed. And you guys, this is what is so gives chills. We will get signs and messages, and we will be directed, and a door will open that we didn't even know was there. So, blessings on this journey of finding your purpose. Namaste.
We should have silence. Thank you, Julia. So good. So good. You talk about tears. Let's see me back there
Cry.
like that. Okay.
I aim to make people miserable.
What do we do now, Julie, after that?
I think, Don, that there in here is a solo from you.
What for me?
Right after the message. Special music.
Well, I met a girl. Her name was
Okay.
Julie. She
Maybe,
was in Applegate.
maybe we better have the offering
Okay.
instead. So I'd invite the ushers to come forward. Do we know who we are?
We'll have Simon's mother come forward. And Shannon, would you like to, or you would you rather not?
I'd rather not.
Okay. I will. Very well. We'll have a masculine and a feminine energy come forward.
That is very good. Very good.
So what we'll do is see, I am so blessed. Yeah.
Divine love, are we gonna say the divine love?
Divine love, blessed.
Oh,
Say our prayer.
oh, we have to bless. Divine
love
as me blesses
and multiplies
all that I am,
all that I have, and all that I
circulate. And so it is. I am so
I am so blessed. I am so grateful.
we, in this house of faith, in our leadership as ministers, we just want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you. God bless. Amen.
Amen.
Oh,
And before we say our prayer of protection, may I say, we did it. We made it without, but it just illustrates to us today, too, how important our musicians are. So when they come, let's give them just lots of love next time. But we did it. Yes. And so let us say a prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
now we're not going to try to sing our peace song.
Of course we are. Of course we are.
Okay, come on.
Yes. We all know this one too.
There they are, the leadership. Leadership of singers. Look at it.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let this begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Let's don't leave our day jobs.
Where there is need, there is need. Yes. He is at home out to double memorial. That's at 2 o'clock. Yeah, I might want to come here for a minute. He's home alone.
Can I get one of those?
Sure. I didn't know Winnie the Pooh was a girl. The character is a girl. Hi, Pooh.
It's the essence of